if tomorrow there is a data breach or privacy breach, are you able to demonstrate that you've done everything possible to prevent the act from happening, that you are able to provide evidence, that you were proactive? Obviously, you will need to comply with the DPA. But when you comply, you need to make sure that it's not paper compliance. What you will need to look at is the operational element. Because if you don't understand your operations, I am sorry, you are not compliant. Because in the ensuing investigation, they will discover lots of gaps in your organization. There's a law in place, and if you're non-compliant, there are two aspects. It could be ignorance, but it could also be intentional, which could be aggravating, because if you know that you are processing sensitive data, high volumes of data, like health data, and you didn't do anything about this, it will be intentional and aggravating. So if you look at what accountability means, you will notice that it means three words. If a regulator knocks on your door, you are expected to demonstrate accountability, which is number one, ownership. Do you have a DPO? The heads of department, were they responsible? And every regulator will always ask you for what? Evidence. If you want to show that you have been responsible, accountability is ownership, responsibility, and evidence. Do mobile app developers actually demonstrate accountability? GPEN stands for the Global Privacy Enforcement Network. A few years back, they actually did a privacy sweep, and they asked, okay, what are the types of permission and whether the permissions exceeded what would be expected based on the app's functionality. If the apps were using permissions to access personal data to perform the functions, they also assessed how the app explained to the consumers why it wanted the data and how it processed it and what it plans to do with it. I'm going to now share with you, we actually downloaded 100 Filipino local apps. And look at the worldwide average, 75% requested more than one permission.
In the Philippines, all the apps that we have done the privacy sweep are requesting for more than one permission, 100% of the time.
The apps wants to know your device ID and access to other accounts, where you can see that they will know every single account you have, to YouTube, to Yahoo Mail, and all of that. Edwin, would you like to comment in the context of Philippines before we go into detail?
In terms of the access to the camera and the device ID, we're 4 to 5 times requesting for more permissions than what is actually necessary if we compare it to similar apps that are available globally.
If you are a shopping app, if you are a real estate app, the sweeper is supposed to be asking, hey, is this permission proportionate to the function, the purpose of the app?
The case that I have mentioned earlier, a contact tracing app that was developed by a local government unit able to alert us or contact us when there's exposures for COVID-19. And yet in their privacy statement, they also state that they're going to use our contact information for marketing, including data mining.
We took the 100 over apps and we broke them up to different sectors. And the travel apps all had similar purpose. You would notice that in performing the same function, there are apps that require as low as 9 permissions, and there are apps on the extreme that requires 18 permissions.
Some shopping apps is only requesting for 3 permissions. And there are shopping apps that request 10 times more of that. So from a minimum of 3 to a maximum of 33 permission. 57% of them are also requesting for access to your microphones.
For those of you who are developers, you ask for microphone, maybe you want to, after you buy the product, you would like to give an audio review. Yeah, it makes sense, but isn't that excessive?
Some of the health apps that we have also conducted a privacy sweep. So from a minimum of 9 to 18 maximum permissions. Again, a lot of these health apps are also requesting for your device ID. 78% of them also request access to your photo when you are using this mobile app.
So folks, we are not saying you cannot do it, right? But imagine if I'm the user, I want to know why, right? Tell me your privacy notice, assuming you have to, so that you could send image, right, of your condition to me, right? Your privacy notice should be able to address all of these reasons of why you are requesting the permissions. Valid, they may be valid, but educate the user, because a user doesn't know will lodge a complaint.
Some banking apps are requesting for 3 minimum permissions, while the others are actually requesting 23 permissions. More than 55% request also access to your camera. Again, so interesting. There are actually some mobile banking apps that are also requesting to have control of your flashlight.
And the reason why you see all these permissions is, the developers did not do it on purpose. It's probably because you turn on all the permissions thinking that you might be able to use it. And we see a lot of these developers just by default turning on all the permissions. What we're getting at is, for all of you, we had to have a privacy capability model. But this is a new data privacy capability model that will be introduced this year. See, it maps very nicely with what MPC has put together. When you do the mobile app development, please think of the external legal requirements, your internal requirements, looking at your objectives and all that, the kind of culture, the kind of stakeholders, and understand your data privacy requirements. You got to govern the data. You need to assess the risk, and all the risks that you have, you will need to manage them with controls and policies. Unless and until you know your risks, you are not able to put your controls and policies in place. The regulators expect you to enforce it, and these are all the ways. But my advice, take these 5 areas and look at the data lifecycle. Regardless of which model that you use, the data privacy capability model can also be used when you are targeting other countries.
Again, for those who are interested to learn more about mobile app privacy by design, right? So you can contact us.
We are going to go into the detail, how you pick the risk up, and these are our course objectives. More importantly, as you can see, we are going to be looking at how you can implement following the Google, Apple privacy guidelines.
Again, visit our DPEX website if you want to learn more. Again, we're very excited because this is the first mobile certified in mobile apps privacy by design that we're offering in the Philippines, the first in the ASEAN region.